Now, as if there isn't enough fuckery going on with this case, we get even more attacks by the mainstream media on YouTubers, online sleuths, things of this nature. So if that wasn't bad enough, we get our own people from our side helping them out with their hit pieces. Now, I cast no aspersions on Daniel J. or the Drunk Turkey Show. I actually find their content very, very good. In fact, I even defended them this past week when everybody was saying that they were lying about talking to Kaylee's mom and dad and mom and shit like that. I said, how the fuck do you know? And I was really glad when Daniel put up the video proving that he indeed did have a phone interview with Kaylee's mom. However, sometimes I think, and I don't even blame him that much, because when it comes to this, because I understand you're trying to grow your business, trying to grow your channel. I understand the business aspect of this. However, man, when you give them ammo to come after us, it's kind of, I just think it was the wrong move. We'll talk about that, many other things. Obviously, we had the court case this past Friday. You guys know I don't work on the weekends, but I'm here to discuss it a little bit now. Guys, I'm JB Gunner. This is Crime Time. Let's get shit started. Let's do it.
Bring it back.
Well, what's going on, everybody? As you guys know, I'm JB Gunner, and this is Crime Time. Now, before we get started, let me first and foremost say this. Thank you to everybody that supports this channel, regardless of the method you choose, whether it's Cash App, Patreon, Venmo, PayPal. Guys, the truth is, I couldn't do this each and every day as often as I do without you, the Gun Squad. Big shout out to you guys. If you too find my content valuable, feel free to hit the links down below, support the channel. And if you're not a snowflake, you want to check out some of my political content, my news, my gaming content, my live stream channel, feel free to hit the links down there and you can find them as well. But let's go ahead and jump right into this. Now, let me tell you a little bit about what we're going to be talking about. Obviously, there was a hit piece done by ABC, I believe it is. And unfortunately, Daniel J. and the Young Turkeys went over there. Now, there was nothing that they said that was incredibly wrong, that was wrong in any way. But in my opinion, this helped contribute to the hit piece that the mainstream media consistently does on YouTubers, despite the fact that they keep pumping out lies and misinformation in their own fucking videos. It's just one of those things that's crazy. And now this involved Britt Kopacka, and you kind of know how this shit goes. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk a little bit about the court case, because I know a lot of you guys want to know my thoughts on Friday. When it comes to Friday, bro, nothing really happened. I will tell you that the Gonsalves lawyer looked like a complete jackass. The Gonsalves lawyer looked like a complete jackass. Brian Kohlberger came in there and looked like a boss. He came in there actually in a suit his damn self, hair gelled back, and he looked confident. I'm just gonna call it like it is. In fact, let me show you real quick. Brian Kohlberger looked confident in court. That was a smirk. That's a smile. Now everybody's making a big deal about it. In fact, we'll get into JLR. We'll get into a lot of this shit. But Brian Kohlberger genuinely looked confident in court this past Friday. Now let's go ahead and get on over here. We'll talk about some of the topics. We'll also take a look at the video I was talking about just a few minutes ago. But I also want to address something here. Idaho murder victim's dad speaks out, claiming that Brian Kohlberger murdered out of jealousy. Now, I don't mean to be rude, but jealousy of what? And are we sure Brian Kohlberger even committed the murder, Dad? What do you think he was jealous of these college kids for? Brian Kohlberger was working on his PhD. Brian Kohlberger was working on a six-figure income. Brian Kohlberger was the teacher's aide and shit. Exactly what would he be jealous about with any of these kids? I'm being dead honest here. Now, I'm sure they had bright futures, Kaylee. I'm sure a lot of these kids had bright futures, but what exactly is it that you believe Brian Kohlberger would be jealous about? Gonsalves is the father of Kaylee. You guys already know that. Basically, he said that he believes his daughter and her friends were killed over jealousy of their lifestyle by Kohlberger. They were just two girls that were always happy, always filming. So why would Kohlberger be jealous of that? So I think maybe he just saw the happiness, and there was something in him that was jealous of the fact that two people could love each other and be the best of friends, just the jealousy of their lifestyle. I always find that weird when people say shit like that. Like, I'm sorry, it's not like Kohlberger had too bad of a life himself. He was an exceptional student. He had a great job. Like, you think that people are jealous because other people are partying and clowning around and making ticker-tockers? What the fuck is a ticker-tocker? Nobody knows what a ticker-tocker, nobody cares. I don't understand why you think that a grown-ass man would be jealous of kids making ticker-tocker videos. Nobody cares. Nobody, like, that's one of the craziest things I've ever seen. Okay, they were happy. How do you know Brian Kohlberger wasn't happy? How do you know Brian Kohlberger wasn't happy when he was at the front row at the Handmaid's Tale or whatever the fuck that is? He looked like he was smiling. In every picture I've ever seen of Brian Kohlberger, outside of his mugshots and shit, he looked like he was smiling and happy. He looked like he was partying with friends. And I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think he's an incel. I don't understand this. He was jealous shit. I ain't got no problem with Papa Gonzalez. I think he's a great father, but sometimes when you come out here and you say this dumb shit, I hate when people do this. Well, you didn't like someone because you was jealous of. There's a lot of motherfuckers I don't like, and it ain't because of jealousy. Hell, every single time I talk about a YouTuber, motherfuckers tell me that I'm jealous. Jealous of what? I got 3 silver play buttons. Like, I give a fuck about somebody with 30, 40,000 subs. I just started this channel. Trust me, I'm going to 100. Trust me. But anyway, but that's the first thing that pops in their head. If you talk about something, if you talk about the idiocy of certain YouTubers, the first thing that they say is, well, you're jealous of them. Bro, I laugh at that. But anyway, we'll get to this shit here in a minute too. But anyway, so in general, when it comes to this Gonzalez thing, I understand he's just lashing out. He's a father grieving, but I just find those kind of comments weird. Something I do want to say when it comes to Kohlberger, everybody's also making a big deal because Kohlberger wants more time to establish an alibi. Let me make something clear to you guys. Everybody keeps saying he's had all this time. There is a difference between having an alibi and establishing an alibi. Because let me also say this. At the 3 to 4 in the morning, most of us would be hard-pressed to find an alibi, especially if you live alone. I currently live alone. How can I present an alibi for 3 or 4 in the morning? Me and my dog just here at the house. If someone ended up murdered and I ended up being in a situation where I was being questioned, it would be impossible almost for me to establish an alibi. Would I have one? Yes, I'm at home. But how can I prove that? Sometimes you have to go through security cameras. You have to go through any potential digital data that can prove that you were at home or prove that you were where you said you were or with who you said you was with. It doesn't mean it's taken him 8 months or 6 months to come up with an alibi. All it means is that it's taken time for him to establish said alibis, for there to be evidence or proof of said alibi. And did you ever ask yourself, what if said alibi is Bethany Funk? What if said alibi is that? Wouldn't he need Bethany Funk to confirm that alibi? Just curious. You may not agree with me. You may agree with me. I'm not even saying Bethany Funk was the one. But I'm just saying that establishing an alibi and having an alibi, 2 different things. Because when we're talking about establishing it in terms of legal sense, we're talking about having to bring this to the courts and prove it. Once again, I would ask any of you, how hard would it be to prove, especially if you're a single man or a single woman and you're living alone at home right now, how hard would it be to establish your alibi? Now, I got security cameras everywhere, but I still would have to subpoena my security service. I would have to subpoena the footage from the cameras because remember, you know what I mean? I'm in jail. If Brian Kohlberger's in jail, he's more than likely going to have to subpoena that footage. And so that's how it's going to have to get in the lawyer's hands and then ultimately discovery and ultimately the prosecution. It's strange that you people don't understand simple shit such as that. Meanwhile, these motherfuckers are saying his lawyers want him. Kohlberger's toothbrush could be used against him. It's a joke, but basically she says that any small detail to be used as evidence against his client, even something as innocuous as toothbrush choices. Basically, they use this argument in the middle of the court case because everything from his body language, and even still, his body language and everything is being judged against him. I saw a motherfucker say that Brian Kohlberger was wearing a suit so he can manipulate the courts. That they thought he should still have to wear orange. I guess these people don't. This must be their first court case. These people are dumb. The wearing a suit is offered to most inmates who are going through trial so you don't look guilty in an orange suit, because you are innocent until proven guilty. So before you get in front of a jury or cameras or anything like that, the purpose of the orange is to grant you the innocent look prior to being guilty. He is still an innocent man. Therefore, if he goes into a trial wearing all orange, what does all orange look like? It looks like a convict. Not necessarily a convict, but a criminal. When you're wearing a jail outfit, you look like a criminal. That is why jails a lot of times will provide or let someone else provide a suit for someone going through trial. It's not that hard to understand. And a lot of you motherfuckers were like, well, why is he wearing tennis shoes? Well, dummy, because sometimes they don't provide the tennis shoes. They do provide a suit, but you motherfuckers are pushing it to a new level. Like, they didn't get him shoes too. Just calm down. Calm down. Hell, I'm not even wearing pants. I'm joking. I'm not really joking. You get people like JLR. JLR making videos. Brian Kohlberger can't keep a job. All because Brian Kohlberger lost one job when he was 16. And then he resigned from the security gig, and then the teacher job, obviously he was in jail. And you get a little JLR saying he can't keep a job. How many jobs you lost, JLR? Have you been JLR investigates your entire life? I don't think so. See, when they say crazy shit like this, it's crazy. Like Brian Kohlberger right here, alibi and lies. Why is it taking you 8 months to get an alibi, Brian Kohlberger? It didn't. Who the fuck said he did? Just because you don't know the alibi, and because they're wanting more time to establish the alibi, that doesn't mean it's taking 8 months for him to tell his alibi. Or 6 months, whatever. That's all I'm saying. Then this motherfucker says he's likening Brian Kohlberger to Michael Myers because Brian Kohlberger has Dickie tag receipts. He's like, that means Brian Kohlberger bought a Michael Myers jumpsuit for $189. Well, you know you can just buy a pair of Dickies for like $20, right? You do understand Dickies is a pants. You can get them at Walmart for like $20. They come in tan khakis. They come in blue. They come in black. I have several pairs. And in fact, when I was a youth growing up, that's what I wore all through high school was Dickie suits and jerseys. But Dickies don't mean a motherfucker's paying $189 for the jumpsuit that you wear when you are like a mechanic. But he's like, I don't know any other Dickies but a jumpsuit. Then you don't know Dickies. Most people ain't. All my shorts are Dickies shorts. I'm a heavy Dickie wearer. Hashtag no homo. But of course, the way these internet people are, it's fucking crazy. These people are fucking crazy. And like I said, I ain't got no real problem with JLR. He does a lot of good investigating, but some shit is just fucking crazy as fuck. Now, let's go ahead and get into something. Let me also say something in regards to Ken Maines. I love Ken Maines' work, but my boy, Harsh, was talking about how Ken Maines, sometimes, look, man, I'm just going to say this. Ken Maines is a cop. He's going to stick with cops. He's going to side with cops. His bias is clear. He's good at what he does here, but his bias is always going to be pro-law enforcement. His bias is always going to be pro-police narrative. If the police and prosecutorial narrative is one thing, Ken Maines is going to go with that narrative. I doubt he'll ever, break free from that narrative. He's a cop. He believes all the cops are right. I just want to make that clear to Harsh Reality or anyone else. That's the reality about Ken Maines. So as good as he is at what he does, when he's never going to be a skeptic in a case. He's not, because he's prone to bootlicking because he was a cop himself. And I don't mean that in any disrespectful way, but let's just call it what it is. When you overwhelmingly take the side of the police on every topic, you're a bootlicker. And I ain't got no problem with that. That's what he did for a living. He's supposed to have that bias. So I ain't got no problem with him at all. I think he's great. I watch all of his content. But you got to understand, Ken Maines is not going to take any position that's counter to the official narrative. I've never seen him do it in any cases so far. So it just kind of is what it is. But let's go ahead and get to this. Let's see here. Let me make sure this thing is lined up correctly. So let me go ahead and get into this. I want you guys to see this real quick. Let's go check it out. Oh, no, I know what I'm supposed to do. Here we go. There we go. I want you guys to see this. It's from ABC News. We're going to watch this real quick and then see where we go.
Here's a funny picture, I guess, of me and him at one of my birthday parties. He was the most generous person I've ever met. I miss him, and I'm going to miss him every day for the rest of my life.
Darren Duncan was in the middle of mourning his best friend Brent Kopacka when he first saw it. Posts online falsely claiming Kopacka was somehow tied to the deaths of 4 college students in Moscow.
And I want to make this very clear. I am actually one of the YouTubers you won't find a single Brett Kopacka video on my entire library. I've actually thought it was quite strange. And don't get me wrong, he could be someone involved with Bryan Kohberger. He could be somebody involved in this case. But you ever notice that there's a couple different narratives I've never went with? The Kopacka story or the cartel story. I have listened to them, I've discussed them, but I've never been the one guy that's just running around here saying, Brent Kopacka. Because there's nothing to tie the two together. Is it possible? Would I believe Brent Kopacka over Bryan Kohberger? Would I believe Kopacka did it over Bryan Kohberger? Yes, I would at this point. But the people that's been shouting Brent Kopacka for the longest, you'll see in the comment section, I don't even respond to them. Just like the cartel people, I don't respond to them. Let's get back to this.
Go Idaho.
He was a soldier who went over there to fight for us, and now I got to defend him after he died. He's not here to talk about it or defend himself.
None of it was true, but Darren unfortunately wasn't alone. Still reeling in its grief, the Moscow community was also hit by a storm of misinformation and lies that would make healing seem impossible. For anyone intrigued by the Idaho murders, there's been plenty of content out there over the last 6 months. YouTube, Reddit, TikTok, you name it.
All right, my bad. I was recording, I turned my damn mic off. But anyway, I think this is where we ended up. As you can see, they clearly have hell, is that even harsh? They have all kinds of YouTubers up here. This is, without a shadow of a doubt, a hit piece. As we continue on with this, let's continue.
On November 13th, 2022, 4 students, Kaylee Gonzalez, Maddie Mogan, Xana Kernodle, and Ethan Chapin, were stabbed to death in the middle of the night at their off-campus home.
By the way, if that shit didn't edit right, I know it seemed kind of fucked up. It's because I had recorded the entire second half of this video and then realized that I had it on mute. Again, this is the second time I've done this in 2 weeks. So that is why there was that jump right here. But basically what I was saying is, this is the portion where they go into basically bashing YouTubers. And then, of course, they get a YouTuber to come up there and, well, help them with their hit piece. Let's go.
University of Idaho. Then, when there was no arrest for several weeks, some web sleuths decided to take the investigation into their own hands.
I just want to give a quick and crazy update that's happening.
This is what I think happened in the Idaho murders.
All 4 of them had been stabbed.
28-year-old Bryan Kohberger was just arraigned. His trial is set to begin in October. For so many in the Moscow community, the national online response to the murders clouded what really should be at the center of the story: the lives lost.
They loved life. They lived life to the fullest, both of them.
Kaylee Gonzalez and Maddie Mogan were both seniors and longtime best friends.
If I had one or two words to describe Maddie Mae, it would be just an angel. She just made me proud.
One of their other roommates, 20-year-old Xana Kernodle, was also killed that night, alongside her boyfriend, Ethan Chapin.
Xana was just an incredible person. I've never met someone like Xana before.
By the way, and here's another thing that just pisses me off. Basically, if you don't agree with the official narrative of this story, the official narrative coming from the police, from the Idaho police or the prosecutor, if you don't believe the official narrative that's being spun, all of a sudden it's disrespectful to the victims. I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but that's basically what they say. You either believe the Idaho police, you either believe the narrative that's being taught, or you're disrespecting the victims. If you yourself at all thinks anything in this sounds suspicious or goofy, or it feels, if you believe that the police have dropped the ball in this investigation, they automatically assume like you're pro Brian Koberger, pro killer, and anti victims. Have you noticed that? That's what they do.
Ever.
Ethan was a member of the Sigma Chi fraternity and loved sports. He was also a triplet. His brother and sister were both students at the university. From family members to classmates to community members, most were in some way affected by the senseless murders. And in the months that followed, conspiracy theories and false allegations have reopened the community's wounds.
We're about to kick this off. We have about 135 people waiting on us already. Last time we had...
Man, Daniel, you let these people in your house, bro. You let the mainstream media into your house so they could use it to bash you. Do you notice how they keep showing? Do you notice, Daniel, how they keep showing the entire setup and everything? They want you to look as unprofessional as possible. Because remember, only the news people, only the mainstream media can have a professional setup. What they want to make your setup look as bootleg as possible. That's why throughout this, you keep seeing this. Like, look at that little video of you through your fucking screens. Here, let's rewind it a little bit. Yeah. But I'll just pay attention. They want you to...
We have about 135 people waiting on us already. Last time we had 1,900 people in the live chat.
It's a drunk turkey show, mother trucker!
Daniel J. and his two friends dreamed up the idea for the Drunk Turkey YouTube show and podcast over late night talks and a lot of beers. The three friends asked we don't use their last names due to safety concerns.
Our initial goal was conspiracies, UFOs, aliens, ghosts, things of that nature.
Daniel R., who...
Do you see what they're doing? Do you see what they're doing? They are playing off the fact that Daniel and the Drunk Turkey's initial goal for this was conspiracies and UFOs. Do you understand what they're doing? They are trying to make all true crime YouTubers seem like we're conspiracy theorists and UFO hunters, which, by the way, Daniel, I'm also a conspiracy theorist, and I also believe I'm an ancient astronaut theorist, so I'm with you. But you see what they're doing. This is a hit piece, a way to discredit true crime YouTubers. And there's plenty of true crime YouTubers out there, like Harsh Reality, like Grizzly True Crime, like Annie Elise. These people in no way seem crazy. But they are trying to, they picked the Drunk Turkey show, and they're trying to make all of us sound like we're just crazy conspiracy theorists, and that's all our videos are. And they're going to try to make it sound like we're dangerous to the investigation, to people's lives. And then this is why I have to heavily disagree with Daniel for going on here. I understand it gives your show some outside views, some outside eyeballs. But brother, this was, you participated in your own hit piece.
who goes by Big Blue, is one of the co-hosts.
When did you guys really start to see subscribers change?
I think it was for sure when we started doing the Idaho case.
Welcome back to the Drunk Turkey Murder Mystery Show. Today we're trying to track down a potential suspect.
The team has recorded over 100 episodes on the so-called King Road murders to date. Daniel J. is a former police officer, but with Drunk Turkey, he says he's just a regular guy.
But doesn't it kind of muddy the water, you know, when you have so many people that are not directly involved in the investigation of the case, giving all sorts of information? How are people supposed to know what is the truth and what's not?
Now, let me tell you how I would answer this before Daniel answered this. I don't give a fuck what people think. That would be my answer. It's not my job to be your source of knowledge. I'm just a commentator. You either take what evidence or lack of evidence, or you either take my opinion to heart or you don't. I'm not a goddamn news show. I'm a commentator. I'm just a fat motherfucker on here giving you my opinion on shit. It's not my job to be the purveyor of knowledge for everyone. You are an adult if you're watching this. It's up to you to fucking separate through the shit and you tell me what you believe and what you don't believe. That's how I would have answered this. There's no muddy in the waters.
When it comes to like true life and true crime and stuff, we try to stay fact-based for the most part. Like, is there speculation and opinions? Yes, it's ours.
The three friends say they don't have any bad intentions and are careful about the sourcing they use. They sometimes add disclaimers. But still, they've amplified a number of false allegations tied to the murders of the 4 students.
See what they're
and just
doing?
having various guests and listeners call into their show. In one episode...
I want you to listen to this. Now they're going to blame Daniel and the Drunk Turkeys because... And by the way, this is why I don't take calls and shit like this. Every now and then I'll do a panel, but even then, not a whole lot. Because you see what happens? You see what happens with this shit. They're going to blame Daniel and YouTubers for a call-in. Now, throughout the history of mankind, we've had new shows and podcasts have call-ins on their shows. And never has the show itself ever been blamed for a call-in.
A woman called in and falsely claimed Brent Kopacka was tied to the crime.
One of Brent's close friends has said that he felt like that podcast ruined his friend's legacy. How does that make you feel?
I mean, I feel pretty bad but I don't think it ruined it.
No, Brent Kopacka shot at fucking cops and ruined his own goddamn legacy. How about that? Brent Kopacka went crazy and started trying to hold people hostage and shooting at cops. That's what ruined Brent Kopacka's legacy.
Legacy, I mean, at that time we weren't even that big to where everybody in the world heard it. I mean, if it's personal to him, I apologize.
The Moscow police continuously push back against the false allegations throughout the investigation.
The best thing that most people can do to help is to stop with any kind of rumors and just seek official information.
Suck my dick. Suck my official dick.
Warning those spreading misinformation that anyone engaging in threats or harassment, whether in person, online, or otherwise, needs to understand that they could be subjecting themselves to criminal charges. Duncan was devastated to see Kopacka's name falsely tied to the crime weeks after he died, and it went far beyond the Drunk Turkey show.
All this stuff that was not true at all, and it's all said by people who don't know him, never even met him.
According to investigators, back on December 15th, officers responded to Kopacka's Washington home after reports that he had threatened his roommates. The home just miles away from the King Road crime scene. He barricaded himself for hours, at one point firing a gun. Police say they fired back and shot Kopacka.
Oh, yeah, but that ruined his legacy.
In Kopacka's obituary, his family said he had fought a courageous battle against PTSD for years after returning home from serving in Afghanistan.
Thank you for your
reached out to the
service.
family, but did not hear back. Duncan says mourning Kopacka while also defending his legacy has been painful.
Do you have a message for those people that continue to bring up Brent's name?
You guys are not detectives. Leave people alone. Let the professionals do it and just shut your mouth.
Or else what? Or else what? Or else what? People out there, man, I don't know if you understand. We live in America. Motherfuckers have the right to speak. Always have, always will. And they have the right to speculate. Always have, always will. Whether you like it or don't like it, it's the way of the world. And you don't mind everybody speculating that Brian Kohlberger did it. Because that's all it is if you believe Brian Kohlberger did it, is speculation. That's it.
Our thanks to Maria. We reached out to TikTok and YouTube about their efforts
of course,
to
here we
address
go.
misinformation. But
There you have it. There you go, Daniel. They reached out to YouTube and TikTok so they can take our videos down. Ain't that lovely? You remember the adpocalypse? Remember how we couldn't talk about COVID or the 2020 election? You remember any of that? Now they're going to make it to where people can't speculate on true crime. Because that would be misinformation. How do you know? Because Dr. Fauci said it was misinformation. Dr. Fauci ain't got shit to do with Idaho 4. Doesn't matter. The WHO and Anthony Fauci said you cannot speculate. It's Brian Kohlberger. That's what it's going to be. They're literally saying it right there. This is what the mainstream media likes to do. This is exactly what the Wall Street Journal did. Remember back when PewDiePie dropped the N-bomb? The Wall Street Journal took that as a chance to come after YouTubers, and they got us literally all demonetized. Many of us shut down.
did not provide comment. You can see more of Maria's full report, including those caught in the crosshairs of false accusations online on Impact by Nightline. Now streaming on Hulu.
I had to check that out. I had to see what that is all about. Look, man. Shout out to Drunk Turkey Show, and I mean no harm by saying what I'm saying. But, bro, this was dumb. You took part in your own goddamn hit piece. Not just your hit piece against you, but against other YouTubers. And don't you know by now that this is exactly what mainstream media wants? They want, forget just true crime. Think about all other media. I do news and shit like that, politics shit like that on other channels. They want all of you, all of us shut down. So that way only Fox and CNN and ABC and NBC are the authoritative voices. And every single content creator in this community should stand against this fuckery. But you just went, and I love you, Daniel. Me and you had a great conversation, but you just went right along with it. I said, come on into my house, guys. Let me show you. So they can record it and show the entire world how much of a bootleg B-level operation that it looks like. You know, that's what they think. That's why they showed your crammed up little office space in your basement or wherever the fuck it's at. They wanted everybody to see that your operation was a bootleg little basement corner operation. Brother, I'm not trying to insult you. I'm just trying to be honest with you that when you took part in this, you took part on the hit piece on us. And there's too many of us to put in way more hours than the mainstream media people. Those mainstream media people do not put in more hours at this than me. Nor do they put in more hours in this than you, Daniel. You, Harsh, you, anybody. We can never co-sign these motherfuckers attacking what we do. That's how we get shut down. It happened to us in the manosphere, happened to us everywhere within this community. Within YouTube, and I've been here a long time. I've seen several communities get completely obliterated, completely shut down. because sponsors and mainstream media told them that it was bad, it was wrong. And it will happen to the true crime community. If you're not allowed to speculate in this community, if you're not allowed to conversate about it, you're not allowed to discuss it and shoot back ideas, then what the fuck is the point in the community? But of course, everybody's turned into a bootlicker now. The police are right, and of course you can't speculate, and if you think Kohberger's innocent, then you're a murderer, scumbag that hates the victims. And everybody's saying it now. T-Rev's saying it now. Ken Maines is saying it. Fuck, even Daniels went down that road, pretty much. He doesn't have a conspiratorial bone in his body left. I think he thinks Kohberger did it. Everybody, despite the fact that we've seen no evidence to anything, has went down that road, and you either go down that road with them, or you're the bad guy. You're the conspiracy theorist. You're the alien believer. By the way, I'm all of those things. Tell you what I'm not, is a bootlicker. Guys, if you like what I do here and you want to support the channel, by all means, the links are down below if you find my content valuable. I'm JB Gunner, this is Crime Time. I get to my other videos from my other job. Love you guys. See you guys later. Peace out.